there, welcome to another edition of Jamaica Magazine. In today's show we bring you nature and health. So kick back, relax and enjoy 30 minutes filled with informative content just for you. I'm Audrey Williams. The news is up next.
The new NIDS bill has been drafted and is ready for review. We want to hear from you. Go to www.japarliament.gov.jm to download a copy of the new bill. Join the conversation. Make a written submission to Clerk to the Houses, Gordon House, 81 Duke Street, Kingston, or via email clark@japarliament.gov.jm.
We have extended the time to the 15th of February.
Join the process. Let your voice be heard.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Friday, February 12, 2021. 114 projects are expected to come on stream under the National Social Housing Program with an estimated value of $1.17 billion. The Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation has oversight for the construction of these homes under the Housing Opportunity Production and Employment HOPE program. The program was developed to improve the housing condition of the country's poor and indigent population. Prime Minister Andrew Holness gave the update during the handover of a new housing solution to a needy mother of two, Vanicia Reed, in the community of Trenchtown, St. Andrew on Thursday. The Prime Minister said a total of 290 applications had been received from members of Parliament across 58 constituencies.
Of the 290 applications received, 213 have been approved by the new Social Housing Program Project Oversight Committee.
Mr. Holness pointed out that up to January 31, 2021, a total of 15 housing units had been completed under the program at a cost of $120 million.
That works out roughly to about $8 million per housing solution. Currently, there are 28 active construction projects ongoing, and they range from between 5% completion to 99% completion.
It is expected that all projects will be completed by the end of the 2020-2021 financial year in March. 130 more hospital beds for COVID-19 patients will be provided over the next 2 weeks. Minister of Health and Wellness Dr. Christopher Tufton made the disclosure yesterday while on a tour of the COVID-19 field hospital based on the grounds of St. Joseph's Hospital in St. Andrew.
If we say we have 400 now, or just under 400, I think it's a little less than 400, and we add another 120, 30, then we can say comfortable that we'll put on another 27%, 28% additional occupancy over the next week or two.
The field hospital on the St. Joseph's property will provide 36 additional bed spaces to facilitate the treatment of persons with COVID-19.
It was built in a fairly short space of time despite the rains, and it has gotten the seal of approval, put it that way, by the clinicians. I know the PS has been active here, and he has expressed his satisfaction with the facility. So I want to thank the contractor, the project managers, all those who have played a part, the people here who have had to manage the process while they're providing service. So what we have to do now is make it work. And I think we're at that stage where we can make it work starting next week.
Dr. Tufton stressed that persons need to take their health seriously and be more responsible, as the recent spike in COVID-19 cases has a lot to do with improper behavior. He pointed out that if the increase in cases continues to soar, it will become more troubling for the public health system. $60 million has been earmarked for the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries buyback program in the January to March quarter. Portfolio Minister Floyd Green made the announcement in Parliament on Tuesday.
We've allocated $35 million directly from the ministry to intervene this quarter, and we have additionally have gotten some support from the FAO to specifically target our eastern parishes, and that will be rolled out this quarter.
The buyback program started last year to assist farmers who were unable to sell excess produce as the coronavirus pandemic led to a downturn in hotel operations. Since the announcement on Tuesday, scores of farmers in St. Elizabeth who are grappling with an oversupply of tomatoes have turned up at the Rural Agricultural Development Agency RADA office for assistance.
Our team from RADA are in St. Elizabeth purchasing over 10,000 pounds of tomatoes through a partnership with our purveyor from Glastonbury to remove some of that excess produce and provide resources to our farmers and minimize their loss.
Several road improvement projects are scheduled for the 2021-22 financial year under the new Special Infrastructure Program. The work comprises 8 projects that will address recurrent congestion, highway operating costs, safety for motorists and pedestrians, and the provision of water supply and sewer facilities. The road improvement works will spread across Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Catherine, Clarendon, Westmoreland, and St. James. Minister with responsibility for works, Everald Warmington, gave the update during an interview with JIS News. He said the administration was also hoping to complete the widening of the Sandy Gully Bridge on Washington Boulevard this year.
We noticed there are some piles driven there years ago, but nothing was done. I've asked NWA to do a costing, and it will cost about $160 million to construct the third lane, because coming on Washington Boulevard, when you reach Patrick City, you always have a bottleneck with the traffic there.
And finally, the education sector has been the biggest beneficiary of interventions implemented under the Jamaica Social Investment Fund's JSIF's Basic Needs Trust Fund program. Since the fund's implementation in 2003, $28.51 million have been invested in more than 180 projects. Education has received more than 50% of the resources. The program's project manager, Dainty-Ann Barrett-Smith, says this is part of a holistic approach to help fill the gaps within the education sector.
We have carved out several interventions, quality enhancements in literacy and numeracy. We did that under the BNTF 7 cycle. And under the BNTF 9 cycle, we have supported the move of the ministry in enhancing the quality of education for special education unit. And that intervention has really been an umbrella of activities, and we have broken it out into enhancing the capacity of school leadership.
Mrs. Barrett-Smith was speaking at a recent JIS think tank. JSIF's Basic Needs Trust Fund covers 5 target areas: education and human resource development, access and drainage for farm roads, water and sanitation systems, health and livelihood enhancement. It is financed by the Caribbean Development Bank. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Did you know that trees give off oxygen that we need to breathe, provide food, protection, homes for wildlife, and so much more? Take a look at this next feature to find out more.
Eroded coastlines, a rise in sea levels, hotter, longer dry seasons, shorter flood-prone wet seasons, more and stronger hurricanes. That's the face of climate change in Jamaica. But we have an important tool in the fight against the change in weather systems, and that's by planting a tree. Trees have been known to remove carbon dioxide and release oxygen into the atmosphere, and by this process reduce climate change. That's why the state has committed itself to a planting program tagged 3 million trees in 3 years. The number represents Jamaica's population of 3 million, and the trees will be planted over a 3-year period. Managed by the Forestry Department, the initiative will expand public and private forested areas. 2 million timber seedlings will be planted by the Forestry Department, and the rest will be issued to the public for planting. The project started in 2019 and has been steadily gaining traction. In a 1-year period, over 272,000 seedlings have been distributed for planting. They include a mixture of timber, ornamental, and fruit trees. Several public and private entities have come on board. And recently, the National Road Operating and Construction Company Limited, NROC, joined the campaign.
NROC has been constructing toll roads for the past 20 years, and we have built more than 100 kilometers of toll roads. When you build, obviously you then impact on the environment by moving existing trees. So as part of the project, we gave a commitment to put back trees that were lost, and not just put back trees, but put back additional trees over and above those which were taken out as part of the highway construction.
And so, 480 trees were planted along a section of the North-South Highway toll road in Listed St. Catherine. The area is being used as a test site for NROC's plans to reforest and beautify lands adjacent to the toll road it manages. Blue maho, Spanish elm, and pink and yellow pui seedlings were planted.
As part of the process, the forestry department requires us to maintain the trees over at least a 3-year period until the forest is established. And then they will go into what they call their routine maintenance. NROC will undertake the cost for the maintenance over the period, but forestry will actually do the actual implementation based on our discussion going forward with them. We are working on an MOU with the forestry department that will look at planting trees on the North-South Highway, the East-West Highway, and then when we get to Montego Bay, the Montego Bay Perimeter Road corridor.
We were approached by the UA Rotaract Society to plant trees, and we thought this was an ideal opportunity to partner with them to build on that initiative of planting 3 million trees as the PM had indicated.
One of the points that we came up with was trying to help with climate change. So we're doing a series of tree planting and beach cleanups.
The planting activities began early in the morning, but first, a demonstration in the proper way to plant a tree.
We don't want to plant it anywhere above this region here, all right? You end up burying the plant, so you're not killing the plant, right? It's not a funeral. You're trying to help it to grow and survive, right? Now when you're going to plant it, ensure that the soil, so right now we primarily have clay soil.
And then the planting began in earnest.
It's a good initiative in that it shows people that, it shows to them what it is like to plant a tree. Why it is important is actually really groundbreaking for us.
I think it's a great initiative because Jamaica, it's so beautiful, and if we could do our part in making sure that beauty stays, that natural beauty stays, that's all we need.
It's not often that you'll really see much over in a pandemic even, that people are really coming out. They're really being self-serving and giving of themselves to come and actually take care of the country which we have to call home. So, I mean, it's a pleasure. It's actually an honor to be a part of that kind of initiatives.
Replanting the trees will be good for our environment, good for our water system, as well as the air quality.
This is actually a good use. We're planting flowering ornamental trees so people see it from the highway. It makes the highway more attractive.
So it's been really enriching. It has taken me out of my comfort zone, and I can definitely say that I've learned a lot of things.
And I think it's really, really important, and that is why I took the time to come, because I think we need a lot more plants.
If you are interested in being a part of the 3 Million Trees initiative, contact the Forestry Department at 876-618-3205 or visit 173 Constant Spring Road. Remember, plant a tree today and secure your future tomorrow.
Let's take a look at Jamaica's first public garden and others that are home for some of Jamaica's rare fruits, trees, and flowers.
We're here in St. Thomas at one of the oldest botanical gardens in the Western Hemisphere, the Bath Botanical Gardens. This is the beginning of a journey to discover the scientific, cultural, and historical value of public gardens. Come now, let's explore these national and natural treasures. So what differentiates a public garden from a regular place where flowers and trees grow?
A public garden is an institution where plants are collected for the purpose of education, research, conservation, and recreation.
Along with Bath, there are 3 other public gardens on the island: Castleton in St. Mary and Hope and Syncona Gardens, both in St. Andrew. The public can access these venues at no cost. Today, we'll be exploring Bath and Castleton. Except for Hope Gardens, the Public Gardens Division of the Ministry of Agriculture, Commerce, Industry and Fisheries, MICAF, preserves and maintains these natural beauties.
The objective then of the public garden is to conserve the biodiversity of plant life in the island. So we are here to ensure that the plants are maintained, they are conserved, they are preserved, that research is conducted on them so that generations and generations will have that area.
Bath Botanical Garden was the first public garden established on the island. As a research site, imported plants were introduced here to assess how they would adapt to the tropical environment.
Food that Jamaicans love, like breadfruit, was first introduced to this garden by Captain Bly. He came here with the breadfruit, the ackee and OTT apple. Those are the famous ones. Other plants were introduced to the garden that people see all the time, the bougainvilleas, the crotons. All of these were first introduced to the gardens.
Constant flooding from the nearby sulfuric spring destroyed many of the plants and led to a decline of the garden. Though nowhere near its former glory, the space still provides the opportunity for persons to come and enjoy nature's bounty.
Bath is a beautiful garden. It's one of the gardens that has the atmosphere that you come in here. It's a cool, calming environment that I would encourage anybody to come. If you want to study, you can come here and study. If you want to just come out with your church group, want to come out with any little grouping, or even yourself and a friend can come and walk and learn about the different plants that are in the garden.
Bath's fall saw the rise of this location as the premier growing spot for exotic plants in Jamaica.
The garden you're visiting is Castleton Botanical Garden. It was owned by a man called Colonel Castle. Colonel Castle traveled all over the country and bring plants from different countries and plant here. So when he get old, he donated to the government of Jamaica. The government finished cultivate it and give it his name, Castleton Botanical Garden.
Growing here are many of the plants introduced on the island in the 19th and 20th century. These include poinciana, Bombay mango, navel orange and tangerine.
One time it had over 400 palms. I think we're down to 180 species. So you have an area dedicated to the various palms that were introduced into the gardens. You also have rare fruits like mangosteen, and they have another one, the red velvet apple, that you wouldn't find anywhere else.
This is the Phoenix palm. When you knock it like this with a stone, it gives you sound. Why it gave you that sound? Because it's hollow inside. The more it grows old, the more it expands hollow.
Educational tours are just some of the offerings here at Castleton. But you can stop by for a swim if that's your thing. Perhaps a cookout is more your flavor. Or set up a spot on the lawn and bask in the glory of the great outdoors. Our expedition of the historic Bath and diverse Castleton Gardens ends here. Syncona and Hope await, but in another edition of Jamaica Magazine. Until then, keep looking out.
care of our health is essential. It gives us a greater pride in ourselves and creates a healthy mind and reduces stress. Tips for taking care of our oral health are next.
Dental health is really important because the mouth is the entry point of nutrition in our bodies. And if it is not functioning properly, then we run the risk of not getting the correct nutrition. Actually, we refer more so to oral health these days than dental health. If we have bad teeth that impair our ability to chew properly, then we will tend to keep away from certain food groups that could be challenging to chew. People with bad oral hygiene, people who use and eat, drink a lot of sweets, you can have decay, and you can also have, along with it, periodontal gum disease. You know, the big one that jump out at me is periodontal disease, gum disease. That is when the gum begin to be bleedy, sore, puffy, and just generally uncomfortable. It carries some social consequences, bad breath, and you tend to lose self-confidence. It's so important to have a consultation with your dental personnel, whether the dental surgeon or the hygienist, who will be able to diagnose the needed treatment for such a condition. All sugars are bad, but everything is in moderation. The Jamaica Dental Association endorsed the efforts of the government in reducing the levels of sugar in the bottled beverages. The aim is to get it to 2.5 milligrams in 100 mils by the year 2023. It would be roughly 2.5 teaspoonful. The current level that the government has aimed for, and it was introduced the end of January, is 5 milligrams per 100 mils. So that is coming from 6.5, so it's a gradual reduction. And the taste will be not so significantly different. As a dentist, I recommend the soft, but I'm aware that a lot of patients tend towards the harder ones. It does some damage by cutting a little line at the neck of the teeth, just where the teeth meet the gum line. So we recommend the soft toothbrush. It's really important to begin by putting the brush on the gum. A lot of people avoid the gum because they tend to think that it makes the gum bleedy. It's the exact opposite. It is as a result of not brushing the gum why there is some amount of bleediness. And you should brush in the direction of growth. The top ones, you brush them down in a circular motion, and the bottom ones, you brush them up, covering all surfaces. Don't forget your tongue and, as I said before, the gum itself. Flossing is very, very important. If you try to imagine that the toothbrush does not get between the teeth, the only thing that can remove the material that will accumulate between the teeth would be the dental floss. The technique is also important. Hold it short, get it past that little tight area, and gently bring it down into the gum, that little crevice of the gum, and remove it. Remove material that might have accumulated there. And we recommend 6 monthly checkup. If you tend to be prone to decays, we would really like to see you every 6 months. If you have been checked and you are pretty much okay, a yearly visit would be adequate. Extraction really is the last resort. With regular examination, we can pick up using x-rays and visual examination early decays, and these can be effectively dealt with by regular fillings. If it has gone too far and it is now in the nerve, there are other procedures called root canals that can be done, and sometimes we need to cover the entire tooth with a crown to bring it back to usefulness. If your teeth are malaligned, just not aesthetically pleasing, or are causing some kind of effect on your body, then they should be straightened. Orthodontic treatment or braces simply mean moving the teeth through bone to put them in a more harmoniously pleasing position. It's important because you are moving teeth through bone, and the harmony between the joint, the soft tissues and the teeth must be respected. Not respecting it can result in pain in the joint, headaches, and just a general sense of discomfort in your mouth. It's important to visit your dentist regularly and without fear, because with new technology, and we now have many new dentists in our system, where it's not difficult to get an appointment to see a dentist on a regular basis. There's always a needle, but outside of that, there's absolutely no pain.
I'm Nigel Clark. I'm the Minister of Finance and the Public Service. We want a public service that is fair, a public service that values people, and a public service that delivers high quality services. And in order to do so, we need to transform the public service. Jamaica competes in a global environment. The technology has transformed the way in which the world works. And for us to remain competitive, the public service needs to be in a position to deliver services effectively, efficiently, and in good time.
Brought to you by the Transformation Implementation Unit.
Thank you for making it to the end of this edition of Jamaica Magazine. As always, to stay up to date, we encourage you to visit our website at gis.gov.jm and follow us on all our social media platforms. Remember to plant a tree and to take care of your oral health. Until next time, I'm Audrey Williams. Walk good.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.